Rafael Murciano was born at a very early age. In Miramar. No, not that Miramar. This Miramar, a neighborhood in Havana, Cuba. This really unlikely-looking dictator had just assumed power, and Rafael thought it might be a good time to leave town. Rafael's parents could not get travel papers, though, and rafts had not yet been invented. But after many ill-fated attempts to flee the island, the family managed to put some counterfeit visas together. It was Cuba, after all. And on January 14, 1961, when Rafael was 40 days old, he, his brother Carlos, and sister Marianne landed at Miami International. Rafael's father was an airline pilot and a bad dancer. His mother was a homemaker with a degree in education. She was also a bad dancer. But Rafael's parents made sure he would have a shot at the American dream. They sent him to private schools where they did not get their money's worth. Ralph distinguished himself as a solid C student. School was a place for play, and clowning around, and getting into trouble. As the class was paying attention to the teachers, Ralph was doodling or gazing out the window, daydreaming. Rafael wanted to be an actor and appeared in lots of stage plays and musicals throughout high school and college. He had a natural ability for music and played drums and keyboards in a rock and roll band. His band even came out with a record. Rafael did not have the guts to go off to New York or Hollywood and seek his fame and fortune. He insisted he could make hundreds of dollars right here in South Florida. So in 1983, he applied for a job as a grip at WSVN Channel 7. Rafael was thoroughly unqualified to haul a big, heavy video recorder around, but he got the job anyway. Ralph's sister Marianne was a reporter and anchor at the station, so the fix was in. Over the next year, Rafael witnessed the drug wars of the Cocaine Cowboys days, covered the Olympic Games in Los Angeles and other epic events. Then Rafael was hired as a sound man at WPLG Channel 10. Among the stories, he covered the Challenger tragedy. Ralph was on a plane to the Cape not an hour after the space shuttle went down. In 1985, WPLG told all the sound men they were going to be let go soon because fancy new cameras did not require a grip in order to operate. Rafael had to reinvent himself, so he pestered some of the best shooters in the business, photographers like Emilio Rangel, Al Rodriguez, Al DeRuthi, Jeff King, and George Buigas. Buigas especially took pity on Ralph, helped him learn how to use a camera, let him shoot some. Jobless and with no real experience, Ralph searched and searched for a sucker. And finally, in 1986, Larry Wallenstein, news director of WCIX, took a chance and hired him as a freelancer. Ralph proved so good at sucking up that within just a few weeks he was made full-time, $19,000 a year. If Rafael liked TV, he loved movies. He was fascinated by animation. Ray Harryhausen's work hooked him at an early age. Ralph began to dabble in claymation, time-lapse photography, and cartooning. Here is some early cartoon work he did on notebook paper. It led to a project he titled Drawn to Magic, consisting of hundreds of renderings drawn with nothing more than magic marker on transparencies and photographed one by one. In 1989, Rafael wrote, produced, shot, and edited 3 projects using time-lapse and stop-action animation. One was a short film titled Dead Air, a thriller about employees in a television station being terrorized by an out-of-control camera. He also photographed and edited Crunch Time, a peek into the daily life of a television news operation. It was put to music that Rafael composed and performed. And Ralph created Time of Day and Night, a collection of time-lapse scenes that he shot and edited. Dead Air, Crunch Time, and Time of Day and Night won Ralph Emmy Awards for photography, editing, and producing. That same year, Ralph also had to work. He was in the middle of race riots that followed the fatal shooting of 2 young black men by a white police officer. And Rafael gave viewers a look into television news showing what photographers go through to get their footage. Speaking of footage, Ralph got himself a 16mm Bolex film camera and plunged into the world of motion picture making. He had read some books on the subject and soon began shooting promos on film for WFOR.
You're watching Ann Roberts and Cambro Marshall on News 4.
You're watching CBS 4 News with Mackie Rodriguez.
He shot the opening for Channel 4's newscast, saving the station billions of dollars. All right, maybe not billions, but a lot. Ever eager for a new distraction and with boundless imagination, in 1993, Rafael turned to claymation. With the help of his little brother Paul, who sculpted the clay dolls, Rafael brought them to life in stop action, accompanied by music that he wrote and performed. Clay Adobe and the Molders won an Emmy. Rafael's next project, Stalemate, begins as just a chess game, a game that escalates into all-out war, spilling over the boundaries of the chessboard and leaving a king running for his life to escape a checkmate. His following project was about a man who escaped the boredom of daily life through a musical odyssey in his tool shed. He was the conductor. His tools were his instruments. The short film was titled The Tool Shed Shuffle. In 1997, Rafael created his first dramatic short film, Framed, a thriller that he wrote, directed, and produced about a cheating husband whose wife was out of town, but not out of frame. Her wedding picture comes to life, terrorizes the philandering husband, and in the end achieves ultimate revenge. Frame was accepted by the California and Central Florida film festivals where it played on the big screen. Still, Rafael had to make a living, and in 1999 he returned to Cuba with reporter Elliot Rodriguez to cover a political summit. He visited the place where he was born. Rafael found the bronze statue of his grandfather at the University of Havana, and a short while later, he shot an interview with Fidel Castro, his grandfather's assassin. When the Miami Heat decided to build a basketball court by the bay, the team commissioned Rafael to document the construction, and he did. Every day he shot still photos from 3 surrounding buildings and inside the arena. It was a time-lapse marvel that took more than 2 years to create. Opening night at the American Airlines Arena, they played the film on the giant screen and then cut away to the filmmaker. The film, from the ground up, earned an Emmy Award, and the Heat paid Ralph billions of dollars. In 2000, Rafael co-produced Viewfinders, a program featuring WFOR's photographers doing their best work. Viewfinders had a hugely successful 5-year run. In 2005, Rafael, his brother Carlos, and the rest of the family made The Adventures of Chucho and Chicho, the Pool Cleaners, a farcical comedy. The film featured 2 stooges who wreak havoc on a client's patio hours before a big party. Ralph's mother, who is easily amused, thought the movie was so funny that she submitted it for competition. The Pool Cleaners was selected for the 2006 San Francisco Film Festival. In typical Rafael fashion, he forgot to make the trip and missed his premiere. Rafael has found himself in the middle of countless hurricanes, shared the ocean with man-eating sharks, survived civil unrest, witnessed tragedies from the air, interviewed celebrities and superstars. They always want their picture taken with Ralph. Rafael has won more Emmy Awards than a single trophy case can hold. 16 statuettes for photography, editing, producing, and sound. He continues to make movies and is currently working on a screenplay for a full-length feature, a psychological thriller about, what else? TV news.
Ralph is one of the best scripts he's ever worked for me, and sure is one of the gifted photographers in Dade County, I swear. The guy is super great.
He was the most conscientious worker. He always got there in time. Thanks.
I always fight to work with you. Let's do this.
All right, good call.
Ralph, you're so talented.
I could never be as good an editor or a cameraman as you are.
Ralph Bridges in editing is only surpassed by his greatness in photography!
You are
the greatest photographer I've ever seen. You're a spectacular. That's not how you spell spectacular.
Just read it.
You're a spectacular talent. I think this award is fully deserving of a person of your stature. That's it?
That's it.